Tonight, while you are asleep and completely unaware of it, your brain is going to do something remarkable. In the deepest hours of your sleep, it opens up a hidden cleaning system, a kind of overnight rinse cycle that washes away the waste that built up in your head all day long. Scientists have a name for it. They call it the glymphatic system. And here is the part almost no one over 60 has ever been told. The food you eat in the evening, in the last few hours before your head touches the pillow, can give that nightly cleaning crew the exact raw materials it needs to work better, to clear more waste, and to help lock in your memories from the day. Researchers have found that during sleep, the brain's waste-clearing activity rises by roughly 60% compared to when you are awake. 60%. That is your brain choosing the night to do its most important housekeeping. And tonight, you get to help it. I am Dr. Robert Lane. For more than 21 years, I have worked as a neurologist, sitting with patients over 60 who came to me terrified about their memory. They forgot names. They walked into rooms and could not remember why. They lay awake at night afraid of what was coming. And what I learned in all those years is that the brain is far more repairable than most people believe, especially when we support it at the right time of day. So if you have ever felt that quiet fear about your own mind, I want you to take a slow breath and stay with me, because what I am about to share is gentle, it is grounded in real science, and you can start it tonight at your own dinner table. Before we go any further, if you find that honest health information explained in plain language helps you, please take 1 second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It genuinely helps me reach more men and women over 60 who deserve to hear this. It costs you nothing, and it means a great deal. Let me tell you about one of those patients first. I will call her Eleanor. She was 71 when she first came to see me, and she was frightened. She told me she had started writing notes to herself just to get through the day, and she had stopped trusting her own mind. Her sleep was broken, she woke up 3 or 4 times a night, and she felt foggy every single morning, as though her head were full of wet cotton. We did not start with medication, we started with her evenings. I changed what she ate in the last few hours before bed, and I helped her protect her sleep. A few weeks later, she came back, and she was almost in tears. The good kind. She told me the morning fog had lifted, she was sleeping more deeply, and for the first time in a long while she felt like herself again. Nothing dramatic, no miracle. Just the right foods at the right time, feeding the system her brain uses every single night. That is exactly what I want for you. So let me explain what is really happening up there while you sleep, because once you understand it, everything else will make sense. Think of your brain during the day like a busy workshop. All day long, while you think, talk, remember, and worry, your brain cells are firing and burning fuel. And just like any workshop that runs all day, this activity leaves behind waste, little leftover proteins and byproducts that collect in the spaces between your brain cells. During the day, while you are awake and using your brain, there is simply no good time to do a deep clean. The workshop is too busy, so your brain waits. It waits for the quiet of night. Then, when you fall into deep sleep, something beautiful happens. Your brain cells actually shrink down a little, and the spaces between them open up wider, by as much as 60%. Fluid then flows through those open spaces and flushes the waste away, almost like a gentle tide washing across a beach and carrying the debris back out to sea. This is the glymphatic system at work. It is your brain's own rinse cycle, and it runs mostly while you are in deep sleep. This is why a bad night leaves you foggy, and why night after night of poor sleep allows that waste to build up, the very waste that scientists link to memory trouble as we age. I want you to picture it another way because it helps. Imagine a quiet little town with narrow streets. All day long, the traffic is heavy, cars are everywhere, and the street cleaners simply cannot get through. But late at night, when the traffic finally clears, the cleaning trucks roll out and wash every street from end to end, so the town wakes up fresh in the morning. Your sleeping brain is that town at night. The traffic of your busy day finally quiets, the streets open up, and the cleaning can begin. But if the traffic never truly stops, if your sleep is shallow and broken, the streets stay clogged and the cleaning trucks never get their chance. Over months and years, that is how the waste accumulates. And here is the second beautiful thing your brain does at night. While it is cleaning, it is also filing. During sleep, your brain takes the experiences and the things you learned during the day and moves them from short-term holding into long-term storage. Doctors call this memory consolidation. Think of it like a librarian who waits until the library closes for the night and only then, in the quiet, walks the aisles and carefully shelves every book in its proper place so you can find it again tomorrow. If the library never closes, if your sleep is broken and shallow, the books pile up on the front desk and never get shelved. That is why poor sleep makes you forget. The memories were never properly filed away. So now you understand the two great jobs your brain does at night. It cleans and it files. And both of those jobs depend on good, deep sleep and on having the right nutrients in your blood when the work begins. That is where your evening meal comes in. The food you eat in the hours before bed is the raw material your brain reaches for during the night. Feed it well, and you support both the cleaning and the filing. Feed it poorly or sleep badly, and both jobs suffer. Now let me share the 5 foods I talk about with my own patients, the ones with real science behind them for supporting the brain and supporting sleep. I want to be honest and careful with you here. No food repairs your brain like a mechanic repairs a car. Nothing works that simply, but these foods give your brain and your sleep the support they genuinely need, and the research behind them is real. Let me walk you through them. The first is fatty fish. Things like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. These are rich in omega-3 fats, and one in particular called DHA. Your brain is built largely from fat, and DHA is one of the main building blocks of the cells in your brain. Your body cannot make enough of it on its own, so you have to eat it. And the research here is strong. A large review that pooled dozens of long-term studies following more than 100,000 people found that higher intake of omega-3 fats, especially DHA, was linked to roughly a 20% lower risk of cognitive decline or dementia. Think of DHA like the oil that keeps a machine running smoothly. Without enough of it, the parts grind. With enough of it, everything moves the way it should. A modest portion of fatty fish at your evening meal is a wonderful way to give your brain that building block. The second food is berries, especially blueberries and blackberries. Berries are packed with compounds called flavonoids and antioxidants. Now let me explain that simply. Remember the waste your brain makes during the day? Some of that damage comes from what we call oxidation, a kind of slow rusting that happens inside your cells. Antioxidants are like a coat of protective paint that helps shield your cells from that rust. Research has consistently linked the antioxidants in berries to better protection of brain cells and slower decline over time. A small bowl of berries in the evening is sweet, it is gentle on the stomach, and it gives your brain that protective support right when it is about to do its overnight work. The third food is walnuts. It is almost charming that walnuts are shaped like a little brain because they truly are good for it. Walnuts carry a plant form of those same omega-3 fats, along with antioxidants. There was a 2-year study called the Walnuts and Healthy Aging Study, where older adults added walnuts to their daily diet. And while the researchers were honest that not every memory test changed dramatically, the brain scans showed improved activity in the networks the brain uses for memory and concentration. A small handful of walnuts in the evening, just a few, is a simple and satisfying way to support your brain. And because they are filling, they can keep you from reaching for the sugary snacks that wreck your sleep. The fourth food is leafy green vegetables, things like spinach, kale, and other dark greens. These greens are rich in a B vitamin called folate, along with other nutrients your brain uses every day. When the body runs short on folate, doctors have long seen a connection to memory trouble and to other problems in the nervous system. Bringing more of these greens into your diet supports clearer thinking as we age. Now, I know greens are not always what we crave at dinner, but even a small serving alongside your evening meal adds up over the weeks and the months. Think of folate as one of the small tools your brain needs in its kit. Miss it, and the work gets harder. Have it, and the work flows. The fifth food is eggs, and specifically a nutrient in the yolk called choline. Choline is something your brain turns into a messenger chemical called acetylcholine, and that messenger is deeply involved in memory and learning. There was a careful, well-designed study in middle-aged and older adults where those who took choline from egg yolk for 12 weeks showed a real improvement in verbal memory compared to those who did not. An egg or two in the evening, perhaps a soft-boiled egg, or a simple omelet with those leafy greens, gives your brain the choline it uses to keep its memory messengers working. For most older adults, about 2 eggs a day sits right in the range that research links to better memory. Now, I promised you 5 foods for the brain, but I want to give you a 6th that is all about your sleep, because none of the cleaning and filing happens well without deep sleep. That 6th is tart cherries, often taken as a small glass of tart cherry juice. Tart cherries are one of the few foods that naturally contain melatonin, the hormone your body uses to feel sleepy at night. In a study of older adults, drinking tart cherry juice twice a day raised their melatonin and increased their total sleep time by well over an hour. More sleep and deeper sleep means more time for that glymphatic rinse cycle and more time for your brain to file away your memories. A small glass of tart cherry juice in the evening can be a gentle, natural nudge toward the deep sleep your brain is waiting for. Now let me tell you how to actually put this together, because the timing and the common mistakes matter just as much as the foods themselves. The best window is your evening meal and the hour or two after it, finishing a couple of hours before you actually lie down. You do not need to eat all 6 of these foods every single night. That is the first mistake people make, trying to do everything at once and then giving up. Instead, pick 2 or 3 and build a simple, repeatable evening plate: a piece of salmon with a side of spinach, a small omelet with greens and a handful of walnuts, a bowl of berries with your small glass of tart cherry juice. Rotate them through the week. Easy and steady wins here. The second common mistake is eating a heavy, greasy, or very sugary meal right before bed. A big plate of fried food or a sweet dessert late at night actually works against you. It can disturb your sleep, spike your blood sugar, and leave your brain restless at the very moment it should be settling into its deep cleaning work. So keep the evening plate moderate in size and gentle. These brain foods are light, and that is part of why they help. The third mistake is rushing. Do not eat your dinner 5 minutes before you collapse into bed. Give your body a little time, ideally finishing your meal about 2 to 3 hours before sleep so your digestion settles and your sleep is not disturbed. The goal is to have these good nutrients in your blood, with your stomach calm, as your brain begins its night work. And how often should you do this? Most evenings. This is not a one-night fix. Just like watering a garden, the benefit comes from doing it steadily over weeks and months, not from one big effort and then nothing. A simple brain-supporting evening plate, most nights of the week, is the rhythm that brings the real reward. Now, I promised you honesty, so here is the important safety part, because it matters. These are ordinary, healthy foods, and for most people they are perfectly safe and wonderful. But there are a few people who should check with their own doctor first. If you take a blood thinner such as warfarin, please speak to your doctor before loading up on leafy greens, because the vitamin K in greens can affect how that medication works. If you have a fish allergy or a nut allergy, the answer is simple: skip that food and lean on the others. If you have kidney disease or have been told to limit certain foods, check with your doctor about fish, eggs, and portion sizes. And if you take any sleep or mood medication, talk to your doctor before adding tart cherry juice for its melatonin. None of this is a reason to fear these foods. It is simply about being wise and working with the doctor who knows your body. And please, never stop or change any medication on your own. Always do that together with your doctor. Let me give you the one habit trick that turns this from a nice idea into something you actually do every night. Attach it to a meal you already eat. You already sit down for dinner. So let dinner itself become your reminder. As you build your evening plate, simply ask one small question. Where is the brain food on this plate tonight? Is there a green, a fish, a berry, a walnut, an egg? You are not adding a new chore to your day. You are adding a little intention to a meal you were going to eat anyway. That is how good habits last. And here is a small bonus that stacks right on top of all of this, and it costs you nothing. Protect your sleep itself. The finest brain foods in the world cannot help if you are not sleeping deeply, because the cleaning and the filing only happen in deep sleep. So in the last hour before bed, dim your lights, put the bright screens away, and keep your bedroom cool and dark. Doing this lets the melatonin from those tart cherries and your body's own melatonin do their job. The food sets the table, and good sleep habits open the door. Together, they are far more powerful than either one alone. So let me bring this all together for you. Every single night, your brain runs 2 quiet miracles while you sleep. It opens its glymphatic rinse cycle and washes away the waste of the day, and it files your memories from short-term holding into long-term storage. Both of those jobs depend on deep sleep and on having the right nutrients in your blood when the work begins. You can support both, starting tonight, with simple food: fatty fish for the building blocks, berries for protection, walnuts for the memory networks, leafy greens for folate, eggs for the memory messenger, and a small glass of tart cherry juice to deepen the very sleep that makes all of it possible. It costs you almost nothing. It asks only that you bring a little intention to a meal you already eat, and it may help protect the very thing you most want to keep as you age: a clear, sharp mind and the memories that make you who you are. If this was helpful to you and you would like more simple, honest explanations like this one, please subscribe and join us here. This channel exists to help you stay clear, sharp, and independent well past 60, and I would be honored to be a small part of that journey. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. A quick and important note. This video is for general educational purposes only, and it is not medical advice. Food supports your brain and your sleep, but no food repairs your brain on its own or replaces your doctor's care. Always speak with your own qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, your supplements, or your medications. Your doctor knows your body, so bring these ideas to them and let them help you use them safely.